He is the Italian Zerg player in the red. It's Reynor.
And his opponent, who seems to be the co-sponsor of today's stream. I feel like I'm on Sesame Street. Like, today's stream is brought to you by the letter P, the number 4, and by Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Zest. 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 Did you watch a lot of Sesame Street growing up, Grant?
Nope. I actually don't think I've ever watched it in my life, Creighton. Like, I know the characters because they're so like cliche, but I always like the Muppets more.
Oh yeah, I love Sesame Street because it's one of the first shows that ever did like a lot of child psychology review, and they would have kids watch the show and like actually do feedback and science on what worked for the kids. But they found that repetition was really huge. So anytime they introduced like the core concept, they're like teaching you about squares, right? They're like, this is a square. 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 They just make sure, because kids respond to that. So I was thinking that we do it with Zest. But right now, Grant, what we're having is a hatch gas pool out of Reynor.
Yeah, it was forced to be taken.
A hatch gas pool.
Out of Reynor. It was forced to be taken over at the third as Zest did go for that very early block. Not too much of a problem for Reynor. Has to be prepared for what Zest is going to follow up. This could be indicative of either a proxy or an adept attack, something like that. It's not as it's not as cut and dry as it used to be, where there was a block you follow up with an adept attack almost 90% of the time. Now it could be anything, and sometimes you just do it to throw the Zerg's macro patterns off a little bit. We see Reynor getting a bunch of queens out. He's joining up like crazy. Now starting his speed. He has completely pulled out of gas, -1 worker. So his gas income is going to be very little. Zest going for a quick Stargate here, though. Very, very quick indeed. As soon as that Cybercore finished. So he's going to be getting out most likely an Oracle very quickly. And he's going to hit that third base, I imagine. Because he knows it takes a long time for queens to waddle over there to defend. Grant. Wow, that's quick.
Grant, it's happening. Somebody post a Ron Paul gif in chat. Oh my! Oh, don't post the gif in chat. I think you get banned from chat if you post a gif. But oh my God, Grant! Yeah. +1 out of that Cybercore. Spotted immediately though by Reynor, who now knows. All right, obviously Stargate up. Void Ray's probably on the way. But
he doesn't know what that upgrade is, right? Warpgate it could have been Warpgate. Warpgate's not done.
I think Warpgate would have hit a little earlier than that.
Yeah, possibly, but it's Zest, so
he's seen the Stargate now.
He's seen the Stargate now. Yeah, he definitely knows. I'd still be interested to know if he's immediately thinking it is +1. Because Warpgate would be finishing up pretty soon, but not just yet. Anyway, speed coming up here. Lots of queens going to come out for Reynor as usual. We've seen our Zerg players, mainly the Europeans, go to about 7. And also Dark doing very much the same in his 10-0 run yesterday. Gateways coming down here for Zest. He's going to get a whole bunch of Void Rays in this matchup. Probably get charged, maybe even DTs, and then into Archons behind it. For now, though, this Overlord is definitely going to die. And I think at this point, Reynor is probably pretty aware that this is not Warpgate. This is +1 air weapons. It is going to hit very, very quickly. And this could be scary to deal with. How many spores does our Italian have? Right now, none. Probably will want to get them out. His queen count is only a 3, soon to be 6, as 3 more are in the production tab. But this is a bit scary, man. This is definitely scary. Zest can fly in and snipe a base with those powered up lasers from the Void Rays very quickly. +1 really does benefit Void Rays. His damage is quite quick and constant. And it's going to be fun to see how Reynor deals with this.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing here. Obviously, a lot of us have seen this Void Ray play become incredibly popular, not just over the past few months after the Void Ray buff, but especially in the last couple weeks.
Okay, so I'm going to keep talking, and hopefully, Creighton, if you can hear me, leave and rejoin the call. We're seeing lots of Void Rays coming out, and some Phoenixes coming in here as a second Stargate as well, coming in for Zest. Very, very interesting to see how this is going. I'm hoping we get Creighton back pretty soon, because it did sound like his mic just cut out. It could also
Grant, I'm here. I'm here, buddy.
Was it my headset? Yeah.
Okay, I'm here. I don't know if chat can hear me or not. Maybe Grant can't hear me, but I'm definitely here saying things, and the game is being commentated. So, Grant, let me know if you can hear my voice. God, I hope chat can hear me as well, because otherwise it's completely silent right now on Grant's end. We got a Roach Warren coming down from Reynor to try and defend against this. Roach Warren is the correct choice, by the way, against this Void Ray play. But we see Phoenix now on the way from Zest, who's already got 5 Phoenix out to join those Void Rays. Mass Sky Toss here, and Reynor cannot afford to let these queens get picked off. Queen's getting lifted here in the middle of the map, and the Void Rays getting hit. That is bad news, though, for Reynor, who's going to lose those 3 queens, and a nice little win from Zest. Zest, get it. There it is. 3rd queen goes down. Again, the queen's getting picked off in dribs and drabs, not all together right now, which doesn't give Reynor as many options, and Zest is getting a lot of free kills here.
Okay, yeah, now we see the Phoenixes. They are getting all that damage done, and I am back right now. I apologize, not sure what happened. Technical issues.
Great.
The Void Ray staying alive, though, with very little health, is going to be able to offer a lot of damage, and that's a lot of Overlords right now that Reynor is going to potentially lose. The Spore Crawler goes down. This base has to be evacuated. Zest is finding absolutely huge damage here, Creighton.
Yeah, Reynor losing all those queens in the middle of the map early on did not bode well for this defense. He's obviously got a little run-by queued up, some of these lings available, but the wall is solid here, and the 3rd base does have 2 shield batteries, so I think it's going to live for long enough, if nothing else, to keep this game alive. Obviously, Roach is on the way from Reynor here, but look at the upgrades tab, Grant. There's just Overlord speed and ling speed. These balloons popping like Keats and Garrow balloons in the park, and look at Todd, the supply. Void Ray's going to take them to 3rd base in this run-by. Not going to amount to much at all. That's more of a flop by trying to sneak into the second.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Zest takes a game off Reynor to start things off. Spicy.
I wouldn't even say he just took a game, Creighton. I would say he most definitely he dominated that match. He made that look very, very easy. He did catch Reynor by surprise a little bit there and was able to punish him based off of that. But that was very clean. Very few units lost. Good micro. Aggression as we expected. And now Reynor's up against it.
Yeah, definitely. This is bad news for Reynor and bad news for Trap if he loses. But we've seen Reynor come down 1 game before. You know, these Void Ray pushes, Grant, are so difficult to defend against. Can we talk about that for a while? I cast a pretty big series a while ago between Mana and Lambo, where Mana went for these Void Rays 7 games in a row.
Oh my
and
God.
Every game, it was hilarious. And every game, Lambo had to try something new as well. He kept throwing stuff at the wall, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. It all comes down to positioning, and I think that's one reason that people are struggling so much. They're like, oh, there's no counter to this Void Ray nonsense. So much of it comes down to positioning and map awareness, Grant, that it doesn't just matter what's going on with your build order.
Yeah, it was difficult. I really don't know what Reynor could have done differently. He had a good queen count. He did end up getting caught out by Phoenixes a little bit. Maybe he should have stayed closer to home, closer to Spore Crawlers, and defended at the base instead of more open between the bases. But it doesn't matter because that map is over, and Reynor is the kind of player who can most certainly turn up that Italian rap music, get his head bobbing, and reset for the next game. And that's what we're going to.
I wish I had a big trucker hat that I could just like.
Yeah, just
I need a trucker hat that I could just like put in front of me and just do this sort of all game and just
Reynor is just a
vibe
hat
with
and
it
a
and just
chin,
roll.
And Italian rap music. No, I mean, I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times. I bloody love Reynor. He's like the nicest guy in the universe. He's so much fun to be around, and people want to see him do well, me included. And as a European, of course, a little bit biased maybe. For now, though, Zest has him up against the ropes. We're loading into Jagannatha here for map 2 Creighton. I am going to find your camera once again. There he is. There he is. And let us introduce our players. Our first player in the bottom left, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. He is the blue Protoss player from South Korea. Up 1-0, it's Zest.
And his opponent at the top right-hand side here in the red, representing Clash Gaming Italy and foreign fans everywhere. It's our red Zerg player, Reynor. Now, Grant, I always say his name incorrectly, so I'm always hesitant. It's Ricardo. Is it Romiti?
I think it.
Romiti.
Romiti. Sounds way more Italian.
Oh, it definitely does. I always want to like add an extra E, like Romanici or something, which just sounds totally wrong. So, some players I feel very comfortable saying their name, but I never want to get a player's name wrong at the beginning. So I won't introduce him by name, but if you want to look up Reynor's name, go check the Wikipedia page and I'll tell you exactly what's going on.
This is what mobiles were made for, Creighton. So, this map so far has Gaspool coming out here, once again forced over to the 3rd base. Reynor probably a little frustrated with Zest shenanigans, because a lot of Protoss players actually haven't been doing this as much. It's still, something that happens, but it doesn't happen every game anymore. So a little bit frustrating here for young Ricardo. Zest, on the other hand, is getting his Nexus down very, very quickly before the Cybercore, feeling extraordinarily safe with how this game is playing out. And so far, everything is normal across both sides of the map. And it's all going to come down to the onus here is on what is Zest going to do. Can Reynor see it? Typically, Reynor, an amazing scouting Zerg player. Serral as well. They sack Overlords pretty early. Although Reynor right now probably having PTSD from Overlords dying. But to get that information.
Yeah, he's obviously still going to send that Overlord in, get some good info, and see what's going on the other side of the map, you know. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, Grant, but I think it's on Group A on Monday because we didn't have any Protoss yesterday. But we talked a little bit about how Protoss have so many options, right? Zest went Stargate last game, and even after opening Stargate, he still has options. What he wants to do after that? Double Stargate, triple Stargate, Fleet Bacon, crazy, great.
One base mothership, we've seen it.
Yeah, you want to go Stargate and then follow it up with like a Glaive Adept attack? Totally acceptable. Stargate into so there's so many options right now from the branching Protoss tech tree that even if a Zerg player gets in and sees this first Stargate, which Reynor has not yet done, he's sending that Overlord back into the middle of the map for a bit of a safety area. Even if he sees that first Stargate, sees the first Void Ray on its way out as it's queued up, he's not 100% certain how tough Zest is going to commit. So I really hope that Reynor does get in this time and sack a couple Overlords, maybe sack some Lings, or get some scouting Lings patrolling on the map or something like that to make sure that he sees what's going on here in game number 2.
Yeah, pneumatized carapace coming in. That's going to be extraordinarily useful, and I don't believe he got it in game 1. Obviously, we had some technical difficulties, so I didn't get a chance to see. His speed finishing up nice and quickly as well. And what is the queen count currently at? Only 3 right now. I'd expect to see more and more in that production coming up. Void Ray into Oracle here, so slightly different from Zest. The Void Ray will clear the Overlords, and then the Oracles will be able to potentially get across the map and find some damage with those beams that they have. We do have Reynor starting to move out with a good chunk of Lings this game. He has 8 on the field. He's getting Spore Crawlers. Reynor doesn't look like he's going to die straight away. Zest has gone for a bloody quick third, though.
Yeah, he really has. As you always tell us, Grant, the usual third base timing for a Protoss is?
Between 4 and 5 minutes is where you want it.
Oh, okay. So pretty early here on the base timing for Zest. He's gonna try and save that base and keep it safe by putting additional pressure on Reynor at the main base. So he gets an Overlord kill, gets a couple of drones, and it's a bit of damage on the Oracle, but will make it out alive. And this is really nice from Zest. I think this is why he feels comfortable planting that third base down so early. He knows he's got air superiority. He knows he can drive the Overlords off the map. So he knows Reynor's not going to have as much map presence, and is going to have to sort of blindly feel out and move across for some scouts.
Yeah, this is better for Reynor, obviously, compared. If he can get the cancel on this third base, and I'm surprised he's not going to go for it. I guess it was very high on hit points here, and yeah, the Warpins make it possible. I'm wrong there, definitely. Kills a pylon, that's nice for a couple of Lings. Slows Zest down, supply blocks him. Exactly what you want to do with Zest. You want to slow him down, almost as if he was a Zerg player, because if he can get a big army up, he will hit you, and his micro is going to be insane. Reynor's creep is starting, as of course it's a little bit slow. Reynor is definitely playing quite safe, I would say. His lair now on the way, his Roach Warren on the way, more spores coming up for a total of 3, which is okay off of the 3 bases. He does want to get that 4th hatchery down real soon, though, because Zest is going to pull ahead in terms of economy. Zest right now, he's going double Void Ray charge.
This is really interesting, Grant. Double Void Ray and Charge Lot, which is a dangerous combination. It reminds me of like Marauder. What is it? Marauder Viking for Terran players. We're just like, oh, what does the most DPS? Great. But interesting from Reynor here, who's going up to 5 gases quite quickly, Grant. Make that 6 gases here quite quickly, which does mean, Nidus Worm is going to come out with that Roach Warren. So you need the extra gas, not just for Roach speed, if and when that decides to start popping down. He doesn't have it yet, but should start it soon. But that Nidus is going to be very dangerous. The problem, of course, with going Nidus, Grant, is that when there are Void Rays in the map, your Overlords don't have as much play. They don't have as much cachet in this game. So unfortunately, Reynor is not going to be able to find as much space in the map to drop a really, really effective Nidus Worm.
Yeah, Reynor was using this against Trap, where he just used the Nidus Worm to reinforce much faster. Of course, he's got Lings everywhere that can drop Nidus Worms. They can provide vision, not on the high ground, But Reynor's going to bring all of the queens across the map, drop a Nidus in the middle of the map, so the slow roaches, because he doesn't have roach speed, just don't have to run that far. He may also bring Overlord, so he can drop a little bit of creep, or he could just use the queens off of the back of the creep that will come out of the Nidus. And this is going to be a little bit scary for Zest right now. He has a good air army, but lots and lots of queens and Ravagers make this tricky. Are there Ravagers already on the field? Yep, there are 4. I'd expect to see that number grow quite quickly. And Reynor's just going to stomp his way forward right now.
Yeah, classic Warsaw subway build here with these queens and the Night Eye ready to roll, man. So the queens are going to be really important. A lot of transfuse energy on those queens. They weren't used early. They were built very early, and they haven't been used for too much. Reynor's creep spread not quite as robust as it might be. And we're going to see this first attack start to take shape, Grant.
Yeah, now Zest Micro is going to have to be very good here. That queen count is insane. There are 12 queens on the map, Creighton, meaning air units. Oh, there's some nice feedback. Don't have that much efficiency. The queens are the majority of the damage here. The Ravagers are here to zone. Oh, I do like the stasis ward going down. If the queens take one step too far forward, they could all be taken out of the fight. Feedbacks on the queens is ingenious. We don't see that a lot. A couple of lings triggering the stasis ward. Good here for Reynor. That's exactly what he wants. He's getting some damage done, but actually the queen count started at 12. It's now down to just 6. Been completely cut in half. And Reynor's army is not looking as strong as it once did. He still has a lot. He still has the Ravagers in the back. They're adding a lot here, but if the queens keep dying, he's not going to have much here to deal with these Void Rays.
Corrosive Biles simply not landing. High energy queens getting feed bunked, and this looks really, really rough here for Zest. He's gonna, or for Reynor rather, really great for Zest. He's gonna push Reynor all the way back, and now we see Zest taking a more aggressive posture, focusing fire down onto the Nidus Worm and really slowing down everything Reynor's got. This is bad news bears for our Italian boy.
Reynor doesn't have a 4th hatchery. He is way, way behind in this game. He doesn't have upgrades. He doesn't have an Evo chamber even. So right now he's going to have to hold on for a heck of a long time. He's going to have to sit back and pray. Roach speed coming in eventually, but there's already so many Void Rays, so many Immortals. This was all down to those feedbacks on the queens. It meant the queens would go down without being able to transfuse one another, and that is the perfect counter to this build. I wonder if Zest and Trap had a chat before this. And Zest, you know, or Zest saw the games, because he has reacted incredibly to the build that Reynor did against Trap, and now Reynor is in a world of trouble. Storm on the way as well. That's going to be very good if there is a Hydra transition, or just a bunch of Lings or Banes, or even Ravagers. They are not as tanky. And I'm scared for Reynor right now. He really needs a lot of time. Good thing for now is that Zest is giving him it.
Yeah, Zest is sitting back on his haunches just a little bit. He's going to see this 4th base, and I imagine that might be a trigger for Zest. Ooh, nice snipe on the Oracle. That might be a trigger for Zest to maybe move out and find a new area where he can apply some pressure, especially here on Juggernaut, where that 4th base has not 1, not 2, but 3 different areas of ingress into the 4th base, so a lot of available time for pressure. And we do see Zest now moving out into the middle of the map. He's going to get pushed back a bit by these zippy roaches in the acceleration zone, but it shouldn't be too... I'm amazed that that's enough to scare him away, Grant. With how scary Zest's army looks right now, 4 Immortals, 3 Archons, and still 6 Void Rays. I think Zest needs to move, and should move soon. Yeah.
Yeah, the storms are exceptionally scary. Of course, those High Templars do have to walk through that corrosive bile, and there's a big storm catching a lot of the roaches and the Ravagers. They do have a lot of health, and the acceleration zone generator does allow for very good micro, but now that micro favors Zest. Now he has the advantage here. Feedback again on the queen. The one in the back is forced to transfuse it to even keep it alive. It did lose some health. Another nice storm. And the feedback continuing to rain here on the queens. Biles coming down. Oh my god, those Biles were so big. Killing every Void Ray -1. And that is exactly what Reynor needed right now. I cannot believe Zest just made that mistake. The Immortals are still standing pretty strong, but there's so many roaches and reinforcements. Zealots coming in from the back. They will go down the flank. Not quite strong enough here. And it looks like maybe, just maybe, Zest is going to have enough to break through.
11 more roaches in production, but with that damage that Zest took earlier, it's going to be very difficult. A big warp in should help. Corrosive Biles. Corrosive Biles snipe the War Prism here, and it looks like Reynor may clean this up. It's still going to be tough, and he's not going to take the most efficient fight, but Reynor still eating Corrosive Biles, telling us his attention is elsewhere on the map. The good news for Zest is Reynor's still only on 3 bases. He's still only on 61 workers, which is not ideal for him, and of course Zest now on 4 bases as well, so good news for our Protoss player. But Grant, I gotta be honest, it feels like Zest threw away a real opportunity to close things out there with that rough micro.
Yeah, it's not often we straight up say they get, as casters especially, we have to be like, oh, it's so close. Reynor played so well. Zest should not have stood in that bio. How many Void Rays died? 6, and I imagine 5 of those died, or 4 or 5 of those died in that 1 or 2 corrosive bios. The rain was just a little bit too strong for Zest there. His focus most likely elsewhere, not focusing on the micro elements of that fight. He had the accelerator zone behind him as well. He had so much potential to not die, but Zest is still in a great spot. Let's not get this wrong. He's still in the 70 work account. He's got everything he needs. He's now getting Blink. He's getting +3, and I can imagine Chrono's being absolutely chucked into that as well, so he can pick up that advantage in terms of upgrades. And Reynor is still stuck on tier 2 tech. He has Roaches, he has Ravagers, he has Queens, and 6 Lings. There's no Hydras, there's no Lurkers. That's where he wants to go in this matchup, and it's going to be very difficult. His Infestation Pit is done, but he's still only on Lair, no Hive yet. He's just having to make so many Roaches to not die to Zealots and Archons and Immortals. This is still anyone's game, but Zest is certainly not having a bad go of it, aside from that one small mistake.
Yeah, that Hive tech not being finished up tells us a lot about Reynor's mental state right now. Worried about getting units on the map, worried about getting bulk onto the map, worried about getting army onto the map right now. Unable to tech behind this because of the constant threat that Zest has been throwing forward. I love that Zest is continually trying Zealot run buys, a couple of Oracles into the main base. We see pressure here on the north side. Not only does that cause Reynor to split up his army a little bit, but he's got to defend more locations at once, and it takes away from his mental acumen just a little bit here. Yeah. I love Zest's position. As soon as +3 finishes, I imagine we will see him engaging to start trading away some of this supply and trying to take efficient trades against a Reynor who is still stuck on 4 bases. And ouch, this north flank getting caught is really rough, Grant.
One thing I will say is over the years, I've been pretty critical of Zest's macro in late game scenarios. Look at his bank right now. He has a lot of gas, sure, but that's fine for High Templars. He's been spending his minerals pretty well. His upgrades are great. He's been chucking Chrono in almost consistently. He's been fighting very well as well. He's made a couple of small mistakes in this game, and maybe this could end up being another one, but those storms are so big. All those High Templars clumped, one bile could end up doing so much damage. Reynor really wants to pounce on him, but actually they're kind of being used as a bait here. Look at all the storms on all of these Roaches and Ravagers. Reynor dropped down. GG Zest 2-0'd Reynor.